And we just got through another Google I/O, and we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff that's coming down the pike. Let's get to it.
AI for everyone except Canadians.
Well, we get the AI. We just don't get all the best stuff yet. But that said, what are we talking about? Google AI.
They might as
all
well
of these
name it that.
two-letter, Google I/O just wrapped up. What was it, yesterday?
Yep.
And they had a lot of stuff going on. As you can imagine, this year was almost exclusive. Actually, it was exclusively AI, to be honest with you. And some of the stuff was really quite fascinating. But I think the first thing I want to mention is we've talked a lot about Gemini. We've talked a lot about Gemini Live, what it's capable of. Gemini Live with screen and camera share, which is now, as of yesterday, well, still probably rolling out to some, but basically it's officially available for free to everyone, including iPhone users. And you can get it on your iPhone and your iPad if you're using those. Completely free. You just have to have your Google account, put the Gemini app in, go nuts.
Yep.
And it's the live with screen share as well as camera share is something people who are have legally blind, perhaps, or even completely blind. They even did a demonstration in the I/O with people using it to describe what they can't see to help them with things. And it's something I'd like to actually see for my brother, who's also legally blind. He doesn't like technology, so I'm trying to get my dad interested in it so he can actually demonstrate it for him. So.
Well, yeah, even because he's got an iPhone, so he can still use it. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So what piques your interest the most? And let's go with what we both think is the most exciting thing. And then we'll move on to all the other great things that they talked about.
Well, unlike you, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I did kind of go through some of the briefing. And honestly, I'm kind of anxious to really see the XR glasses, because especially coming from Google Glass, it's like it's like Google Glass all grown up.
You know what? When it died a painful death,
yeah.
I think all of us said this is not the last we're going to see of it. The next time we see it, it's actually going to be a practical item for everybody.
Yeah. And of course,
we also all predicted that it would be at least 8 to 10 years. And how long has it been?
It's been a long time. But they've got
about 8 to 10 years. Yeah.
Warby Parker is a huge eyeglass brand. I mean, they're huge.
Yeah.
And they named another one. I don't remember. I couldn't remember the name, but they're obviously like trying to compete with Meta and Ray-Ban. I don't know if Warby Parker is as big as Ray-Ban.
Well, now I have to ask you straight up, is it Meta or Meta?
Maybe it's Meta. Did I say Meta?
I don't know. When you said Meta just now, I'm thinking maybe I've been saying it wrong all this time. You know what? Maybe I really don't care.
Maybe Continue. It's Mater. No, but I mean, I don't think Warby Parker is as big as Ray-Ban. I'm not really sure, but they're definitely starting this race, you know.
Yeah, I think the biggest deal here is that if you have more than just the one big brand doing something, then you're inviting other smaller brands to get involved. Smaller brands that can sell a higher profit margin item, but at a lower cost than a high profit company would. So we're going to see, because they have, I don't know if you've seen the list of the partners that they've actually partnered with. And many of them we're not going to see for months. Maybe some of them might even be for a year or two. But the list is actually quite long. Yeah, so there's companies you may never have heard of. You go into an eyeglass place and go, I'm going to get some really good sunglasses, or a sunglass hut. what do they call it? The Sunglass Hut, actually, in malls.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep.
you go there, and there's all kinds of brands, and the first thing you see, oh, there's the Ray Bans, and there's the, all whatever other names that you recognize, and then there's a bunch of names you don't recognize. Some of them are sub brands probably, and others are just names you've never heard of. Well, it's going to be
Right.
kind of nice in a couple of years when you can go into the places like that, and you can decide to choose. I'm going to take this, $120 pair instead of this $800 pair. Why
Mm-hmm.
not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't know what they're going to be charging when they start this, but I guarantee you they're probably going to be less than Google Glass, but way more than I can afford. The first pair that
Yeah.
shows up. So I'm
They
just
better be
saying.
less than Google Glass because no one will buy them because you can pick up a pair of the Ray Bans for like $500 or $400 or something. Let me see. I wonder how much those are.
That's overpriced in my opinion. And the reason I say that is because this is something that they want to put on the face of the average person. $500 is something that you pay for something that is less people are going to have. Um,
Okay.
why do you think
379.
370 for Ray-Ban or for the Meta?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the most expensive. They
Yeah.
start at
So it can't so yeah, but that's almost a half a million dollars Canadian. I but seriously, you know, that's a lot of money. Even in American money, that's a lot of money. And don't get me wrong, you can buy a $350 pair of Ray-Bans that have no Meta in them. In case anybody's wondering, yes, there are three,
yeah,
four, $500 Ray-Ban sunglasses,
sure.
often prescription ones, but nonetheless, that's true. So for people who are willing to spend that kind of money, this is not actually spending more, if that's the case. I think they'll make them so they compete with them on the high end. But this is why I'm saying it's good that there's going to be so many different brands inevitably, because you will be able to pick up a pair that maybe the battery doesn't last quite as long. Uh, Maybe the camera's lens is not quite as good, but you still get all the benefits of the AI because Gemini is Gemini no matter where it is. If
Right.
Gemini works and it has what it needs to work, then as long as your battery's working, it's going to work. And I would have no problem paying $150 for a pair of glasses that didn't take as good a picture. I don't care if it can take a picture. I just want to know if it can tell me if that bus stop is the right bus stop to get where I need to go. You might think that's a bad example, but I'm telling you, there are times where you got to be in some place and you've never been to that particular location, and you're thinking, okay, there's 6 intersections in this one small spot. There's a bus island here, and there are 18 different bus numbers. Which one am I taking? You take the
Yeah.
wrong one, and you're 14 miles away from home instead of going home. So,
Yeah. And I just looked that Warby Parker is definitely not as big as
of course not. No,
Ray
no, no.
Ban,
I
but
mean, we
they're
all knew
owned
that.
by a large company that deals a lot with eyewear. So, um,
What's the
it,
company? The large company?
oh, I don't remember the name. It was
Okay.
some European country. Um, but
Yeah.
I think it's good that they're not coming right in
Yeah.
with, some big giant, eyeglass brand like
Yeah.
Meta did. I think, like you're saying, I think it's going to enable a lot of the smaller brands to reach a much larger group of
Yes.
people that, like you say, you might be able to get a lower cost, of entry glasses where you can have fun with them, but you're just not going to have
Yeah.
all the super bells and whistles and, all day battery or whatever the case may be.
Exactly. And there could be other things. Maybe they're uglier, and you don't have as many choices for frames, or maybe there's only one frame choice. Like both of those people on stage, the woman and the man, were wearing, basic,
Yeah.
Leave It to Beaver glasses, 1950s type stuff without the horn rims. I mean, like these look cooler for crying out loud, and they're just dollar store reading glasses. But the bottom line is you can obviously get. Oh, and he did mention, by the way, in the full the full
Keynote.
program that he yeah thank you the keynote that he was actually he's actually using prescription, so they're already prepared for that. They you can get them as prescription. They don't have to be just plain glass. I'm sure you can get them in a sunglass, but probably nothing's overly dark because you will miss out on what it's supposed to do. But I don't know. There's just so many things that are going to be good about this compared to Google Glass.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's
and by the
not
way,
no
apparently a
comparison.
light does come on when you actually are using it. And this is an important feature that is absolutely necessary because one of the big things is people who shouldn't be wearing glasses like that in places they shouldn't be wearing glasses like that. So having a light that turns on it is, and I hope Meta does that too. I
I
really
don't
do.
know.
Uh, So I'm not even going to get into what that would mean because we all know, but that's just it's an important safety feature. It's good for privacy to make sure that people aren't doing things they shouldn't be doing, and that's important. So I think Google's done a heck of a job with that. So
Yeah.
let me
So
bring
what
up
about
one
what
of
about
the
yours? That
uh,
was my pick. What's your pick?
well, mostly the Gemini stuff that I can't have because I'm Canadian. Um, one of the things that I'm most excited for is I forget the VO3 because but if that one's not because I'm Canadian. That one's because I'm not spending $250 a month for the ultimate plan. And I should mention, well, we'll get to that. Google has changed the Gemini to having pro and ultra plans as well as obviously free. Um, and the ultra plan is completely 100% professional. The pro plan shouldn't even be called pro in comparison. The
Right.
ultra plan is everything, and VO3 is a massive leap over VO2, and it allows you to generate videos with synced audio, sound effects, and even conversation with even two characters talking to each other in different voices. As you describe how you want it to be, you can describe, say, an old grizzled, war veteran talking to a youthful nurse back home, and you'll get a very soft spoken lady like voice on the nurse, and maybe a gruffle voice for the old veteran or something like that, and it's really incredible. It's something that I would love to be able to try out, but I think eventually we probably get the opportunity to do it without having to pay for the ultimate because they're going to inevitably see how this is a benefit to them, where they'll probably give us a light version of it where it'll work, but only X amount of times per month, half the video length, stuff like that. Like just
Yeah.
dumb it down and give me a chance to play with it. That's all I'm asking. Because 250,
Yeah,
I
that's a lot
almost
of
want to
money.
save it up and just so I can pay for it for 1 month and see how it
1 month.
goes. The Ulta, by the
Yeah.
way, that, and I'll tell you one reason why they do that is they give you, I can't remember what it is. It's something like an insane, like 30 or 40 or 50 terabytes of storage. It's 30 something terabytes of storage or some shit like that. I mean, I'd be good for life with that. Like, no problem.
Well, I guess they would have to because if they're creating all this video with audio, it's got the files are going to be pretty big. You know.
Yeah, well, professionals. You see, here's the idea of what it does because you can use that, but you also have the other thing that I can't because I'm a Canadian is flow. Flow is part of both Gemini Pro and Gemini Ultra, but in Gemini Pro, you don't get the audio stuff with Flow. Oh wait, is it Flow? Flow is the one that does it. It's not Gemini VO2. No, I think VO2 will do the voices eventually, not right away. I think, but it does do it better. Uh,
So did
um,
they say they're going to leave VO2 available for free?
VO, I think VO2 is still tied to Gemini Pro,
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, because it's listed as part of Gemini Pro. So VO2 is perfectly fine. However, that said, they did kind of hint at, without saying it, that VO2 is probably uh, kind of by proxy getting updated a little bit. So it may generate better. Oh, no, wait a minute. It's not by proxy. Exactly what they said was that Gemini 2.5 Flash is now the standard Gemini. It's not no longer 2.0 Flash and 2.5 Preview. 2.0 Flash, sorry, it's gone and dead. 2.5 Flash is now the standard default. So it's and I can testify that it's faster. Uh, its reasoning is considerably better. It understands more. It gives you better answers. It's a pretty good jump, and because of that, VO2 should generate better videos. It did a pretty good job at that video that I sent you earlier. It wasn't
Yeah.
exactly what I asked for. My prompt was for the two guys to meet in the middle of the street, not walk down the street together. But to be honest with you, I kind of liked its
Yeah.
interpretation better than what I described. I just
Yeah.
didn't know they were going to make the American guy so arrogant that he had
It,
not have a shirt on.
it was
I
almost
would
kind of like
love
an
to explain that, but
Avengers clip or something.
yeah, kind of. But it was photorealistic, and that's the thing that about it is it's crazy and how good it is. So I
So I
look forward
wonder,
to that.
do you
Yeah.
think they're going to have Imagen 4 in Pro, or are they going to stick with Imagen 3?
No, it's updating. It's again, it's a matter of how long it takes. I can tell you honestly, I know it hadn't updated for me as early as earlier today because I asked it to generate something and it did a really piss poor job. And Imagen 3 is capable of doing way better than that by itself, anyways. So there's no way it had updated because what they said was that images are better. It does generate considerably faster with 2.5 than it did with 2.0. But even Imagine, I think is what they actually call it, by the way. Now, I've been calling it Imagen for a long time, but it's actually pronounced Imagine. It's just spelled differently. Um, I,
It's an
I,
E,
I,
not an A.
I know. I'm saying how they pronounce it. Anyways, I forgot what I was saying now. Your question again? Was,
No, you basically answered it. You were just kind of rambling.
yeah. Okay, fair enough. Ramble time.
Huh. I'll have to. I have to ask Gemini how he pronounces that, or she, whichever
That is a
voice.
good point. It may be, but it might not get it right anyways. But that said, it does work faster, and it usually does pretty good. But where it has a problem, and I don't know if this is going to improve with Imogen or Imagine, however you want to pronounce it, 4, is they introduced very recently, and I'm surprised they didn't wait to I/O for this, which is kind of crazy, is the editing feature when you tell it, say you want it to make a a picture of a man standing in the middle of Times Square holding two dogs in his hands. I don't know why you would do that, but let's say you did, and you decided that you didn't want them to both be Sharp A's. You wanted one to be a German Shepherd. You could say, "Oh, can you make the one in his right hand a German Shepherd?" Two things I noticed. One, it does a piss poor job, and it'll actually make the Sharp A look like a German Shepherd's fur, but still have a Sharp A's face or something stupid like that. And then you'll say, no, no, no. What I meant was to make the one in his left hand a German Shepherd. Forget the Sharp A. And then it'll make both of them German Shepherds with Sharp A faces or some stupid thing like that. But after you get to the fourth or fifth edit, you realize that it can't do it and you'd have to start all over again. You can't tell it to revert to the original photo and do it again. Because even if it does, which it won't, it's messed up the video now or the picture. Now, the weirdest thing is that I noticed the quality of the photo degrades with every single edit, as if it's actually physically editing the same photo. And you remember how that used to be a thing back in the day? It
Yeah.
doesn't exist anymore because you can copy a pixel, pixel for pixel, bit for bit, byte for byte nowadays. So there's no degradation when you do it. In fact, you make it stronger because you keep all the information if you don't release any of it. But that said, it's doing it like the old days where every single edit was actually making it that much smaller. So you were losing 10 to 50% of the information with every edit. And I've seen it at where the first was photorealistic. And after 6 edits, the main subject looked like a water painting. It's crazy. And so I hope that Imagen 4 fixes that problem. I really do. Because until then, the edit feature thing in it is painfully horrible. It doesn't work. That's why I've never shared one with you and said, hey, man, I did this and then I edited it. It doesn't work. And
I'm
you haven't
wondering. I'm
tried it
gonna.
yet, have you? Yeah,
No.
give it a shot. Try it live on the air, man. On the air as if we got a transmitter or something. You're live,
What do you want me to
but
tell it?
we're not. Oh, that would be a great tagline for the channel, wouldn't it? You're live, but we're not.
What do you
We
want
are
me to ask it?
recorded for your pleasure. What's that?
What do you want me to ask it to create?
Whatever you want to create.
Well, first, how do you pronounce the Imagen 4?
I believe you're asking about IMAX in 4K.
No,
Right.
that's not what I'm asking about. The Google tool to create pictures, the Imagen tool. How do you pronounce it?
Ah, I understand now. It's pronounced Imagen.
All right, you're correct. I'm mispronouncing it. That's weird that they would spell
Well,
it
no, wait a
with an
minute. Let's
E and
see if
not an
my
A.
Gemini says the same thing. I'm having a little. Wait a minute. I'm gonna do it with Gemini Live. I'm having a bit of a debate with someone, and we're not sure if uh, Gemini's Imagen 4 or Imagen 3, whatever, is pronounced Imagine or Imogen.
It's pronounced Imagine.
Oh, so it's just spelled differently so that it, we can licensed or something like that?
Confuses everybody.
Yep, that's right. The spelling is different, but the pronunciation stays the same.
Wow. Did you hear
Huh.
that breathiness in there? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it's like it was breathing on the microphone. It's weird.
Okay, let's see here.
Oh, you love
Hey,
it.
Gemini, create me a picture of two guys doing a podcast. One of them is in Canada with the Canadian flag behind him, and the other is in the US with the American flag behind him.
Sorry, I can't show pictures here yet.
What?
You mean you can't make me a picture?
I can't show pictures here yet.
What?
Okay, but don't you have image? Excuse me. Don't you have Imagen 4 you can use now?
I can't use image generation yet when we're live. For now, going live is great.
Oh,
things
you're
like
on
chatting,
live. That's
finding
why.
answers,
You have to do it in the regular in the
ideas.
That's dumb.
Well, yeah, but the thing is it is they're updating it. We're not going to see that just yet, but I think they did mention that too. Is you will be able to do this kind of stuff in the future for it. They did also mention, by the way, that you're going to be able to set appointments and stuff like that with Gemini Live, and that is coming soon. They didn't give a date, but I'm guessing this summer. They're probably waiting for Android 16 rollout before they do that one.
Okay, I'm typing. I should have voice texted, but that's okay. with the American flag behind him.
Yeah, should have voiced
And
that
the
one
other
because we're
one
in a
from
podcast.
Canada with the Canadian flag behind him. Generating image.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you have to
And that's
excuse
pretty
me. I
much
have to sit
exactly what
here
I
all
asked
this.
for.
Wow, that actually turned out really good. That might actually be okay. Try the edit feature now. Just tell it
It looks
to change
glary.
something.
Is it glary? Can you actually see it?
Well, I can sort of see it. I can make it out. But yeah, there's some glare going on. What are you doing? Okay, now just tell it to change something in the picture, like the color of a shirt or something. That actually freak you out. That one does work. But if you tell it to change something like
Okay, make
make
the
the one guy.
Canadian shirt red and make the American shirt blue.
See, now this is where I'm gonna. It won't work because you asked it. So they're either both going to be red, they're both going to be blue, or they'll both be blue and red.
Wrong.
What? Oh my God, you got the 4. I know it. I'm gonna. Screw this. Hang on. Tell me exactly what you said.
I said, create me an image of two guys doing a podcast, one from the US with the American flag behind him, and the other from Canada with the Canadian flag behind him.
Make me an image with two guys doing a podcast, one with an American flag behind him and one with a Canadian flag behind him. If mine turns out crap.
Live on United We Stand, Divided We Podcast, we create images. Live demo.
Imagen.
Yeah.
No way. Hang on.
Oh, that's see,
I don't know why it has a picture of the France flag with a maple leaf in the middle, though. But nonetheless,
that's better than mine.
Well, now I'm going to tell it to change it. Let's see.
My picture sucks.
Change it so that the American has a red shirt and the Canadian has a blue shirt. Let's see if this works out. And if anybody's listening and not watching, we apologize.
Sure. Here is the image.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It didn't work that well before. I don't know. Like, that's crazy. But here's something interesting. You want to see something really cool? I'm going to turn on my camera and I'm going to take a picture of myself right now. Let me take my headphones off for a second, though. Wait. I got to... Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, that's a horrible picture. Why is it blurry? Let's try that again. All right. Focus on my face. There you go. No, it's going to be blurry, so screw it. Hang on. I'm going to put this back on my head. My glasses falling off. Okay, now I'm going to attach this picture. I'm going to say, make the hair on this picture long and blonde.
You always want to be a blonde?
I just want to show you how
I'm still
oh no!
Certain kinds of images, so I might not be
It failed, and I don't. Oh, maybe it's because I tried it with the other one already. See, that could have been an excellent demonstration. It is really cool. If I just went into my gallery and looked for a picture of anybody, really, then it might work. Maybe. Okay, here's a picture of me with when I got my Pixel 4. I was all excited, took a picture of it. So I'm going to try this. Change my hair in this picture to blonde and make it shoulder length. No, it doesn't work anymore. They broke it. See, it's always something. I've done it. I swear to God, I did that before. I don't know why it doesn't work. I have to figure that out. That would have been a great demonstration. It's cool because let's face it's a fun thing. You're not going to do a heck of a lot with it, but it's just a demonstration. You can
Yeah.
change the color of your shirt. You can change the entire outfit entirely. It's not just the AI. It's easier with the AI because it's a generated picture, anyways. But it's really cool that it can actually add different hair on your head, change the color of it, change the color of your shirt without messing up the shirt. And I have done it a couple of times and it worked flawlessly. I have no idea why they decided to break it. So,
Yeah, that's there's all kinds of cool stuff like that coming out.
yeah. And
The
so,
images and video and
and yeah, and let's segue into the Wear OS. Well, sorry, let's just talk what in general, not just Wear OS 6, but
let's mention one thing first, that everyone in the, again, sorry, Canada, it's US, is AI mode in Google. Everybody should have that rolling out pretty fast if you don't already.
If you're American only.
So if you do a Google search, you now have an AI mode link at the top, next to like all news, images, videos, where those tabs normally are. It now says AI mode, and you can click that, and it will basically take your search and run it through the 2.5. So it's pretty cool.
Right. Which is actually, it is pretty cool. I wish I could try it. I cannot. But one thing we all will be able to try very soon, and well, not all, but a lot of us, is Android 16, which is going to be extremely early this year. It's coming out in its full version in June at some point, probably closer to the end of June. And that's going to be nice. You'll be able to get that. And of course, there will be new Pixel phones probably in August, which again is going to be great. But here's the really nice thing about this. Samsung has already actually, it was more of a confirmation from Google, but they wouldn't have done it without Samsung's permission, is that they will be rolling out their Android 16 version, and I was going to say iOS. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. One UI 8, which is pretty incredible considering One UI 7 is barely rolling out to phones now.
Yeah.
But some of those phones may, well, I'm not sure that there's, I think something that might skip right over. I can't remember what it was, but some of them will barely even have One UI 7 before they suddenly jump to One UI 8. Now, you obviously have One UI 7, right? Because you got the new phone, it had One UI 7 on it from the start.
Correct.
If you had still had the previous phone, it would have got the update, it's sometime in the last couple of weeks or maybe rolling out now.
My wife has her S23 Ultra still, and she got it about 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Yeah, okay, so that's about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, though, is you're both going to have One UI 8 and probably this summer, by the end of summer at the latest, most likely, which is pretty cool.
I saw an article, though, that said that there's a possibility that Samsung's going to jump straight to 8.5. And I don't know why they would do that.
Well, no, here's the thing. See, their foldables are coming out soon. It's foldable season for Samsung.
So you think they're just going to come out
They're basically, the reason why is because they're going like smack into One UI 8 and Gemini and Android 16. So there's a lot of stuff that Samsung puts into it in the first place. They add, people have to understand this. In the early days of Android, just about everyone that could add anything to AOSP did. And if it was in AOSP, it could be added into Android, and it could be either simplified or made more complicated or added as a feature or even taken out as a feature, or any number of things. In the early days, the biggest contributor for features was by far and away HTC, despite the fact they didn't sell the most phones. Motorola was a close second for a while. But when Samsung started to take off, right around their first Nexus time, they started to contribute more and more and more and more and more because they had a lot of things about their TouchWiz that actually would have been good had TouchWiz actually been good. It wasn't. But a lot of the features that they tried to implement were good. So by adding them directly into AOSP, they didn't have to have them in TouchWiz. So those particular features were able to work better. It's just the TouchWiz that sucked. So thankfully they just finally switched to the One UI, which night and day better. Not even night and day,
100%.
death and life better, right? And so it blew everything else out of the water. And since then, it may not be the most simplified UI to use, but it's just as easy as using a Pixel. I've played around with them, and it's
Yeah,
the first time
I
I've ever
love
played
it.
a Samsung, and
It's
I don't hate it.
it's
So
very intuitive. It's very intuitive OS.
yeah, and it is, and it runs beautifully smoothly, wonderfully, and they've added a lot. So over the years, Samsung has added by far more than any other manufacturer other than Google to AOSP. So
Yeah,
it's and of course there's independent people, developers that add to AOSP. It's not just Google. Google works
right.
on Android itself, but AOSP is something. Here's the code. This is what we're doing next. Developers jump in and go, let's throw this into it. And just because they put it in doesn't mean it has to go into Android. It's like having Windows, but without all of the windows, right? If Microsoft had an open source base, then that's how it would start, right? So they take an open source base and they make another open source base on top of that. And then from there, they add to it and it becomes Android. So it's a thousands of people that add to Android every year, thousands.
Yeah,
Um, it's really quite amazing. So that's why it's buggy, and that's why it's runs so smooth. You can take both of those and say it's true in both cases.
right.
So I absolutely love the way the way it works. So it's going to be early this year by a long shot, and I believe Samsung is getting right in on that really early because they technically should be the first new device with it. Because if I'm not mistaken, their foldables will come out before the Pixel comes out, I think.
Yeah, yeah. It did last year.
So yeah, so because that's what late July, I think, right? And Pixel should be early
Sounds
to
right.
mid August.
Yeah,
So
sounds
two or
about
three
right.
weeks after, I think, something like that. Um, but by then, anybody with a Pixel 7 and up, I think the 6 is dead because it only had 3 years. So the 7 and up will be able to install Android 16. And as for Samsung's, I think the S23 and up should be able to get One UI 8 pretty quickly. Obviously, the 25 will be dead first, and the 24 should be soon after, if not the same time. And the 23 might have to wait another month or something like that. But all of the other smaller ones that they update, which apparently is going to be quite a few, will probably have to wait 4, 5, or 6 months.
Yeah,
Right.
as is normal.
Yeah, but if you got a flagship and it's somewhere between brand new and a year old, you'll probably have it within weeks of the release. So
I'm curious.
that's not bad. That's a lot better. And then anybody, by the way, anybody who's thinking, well, why did I have to wait so long? I don't believe it because the One UI 7 took so long. Honestly, the reason it did was because One UI 7 was a huge jumping block into 16, Android 16. It was really meant for something that Android 16 should have been, because Android 15 intended originally to have what Android 16 is going to have, and they put it all on the back burner. And it threw Samsung under the bus, basically, to be honest with you. It meant they had to redraw everything because it wasn't going the way that they were going to originally do it.
Okay, so I thought this
Anybody's
was
right.
right, but I wanted to confirm before I say anything.
Yeah.
They're going back to S22s having
For
One
the
UI 8.
initial rollout or eventual
Well,
rollout?
that's just eventually. That's just what
Okay, right.
Actually, it says Galaxy S21 FE is the earliest model that will get One UI 8. And I think it's because the FE basically came out just before the S22 because it
Yeah.
usually gets released after the flagships.
Yeah,
do.
yeah. It's kind of like the Pixels A series, right?
Yeah, and then it goes back to the foldables 4. So
Right.
quite a few devices will get it. But yeah, obviously all
Yeah.
the 25,
But it should
24,
say there too which ones will get it right away, which is obviously the newest ones, the foldables first, and the 25, 24.
yeah, and then it'll go 23 because they put the break between the 24 and the 23, so they might actually do 23 and 22 all kind of at the same time, or thereabouts, pretty close.
Ah.
So yeah, we'll see. For some reason, everybody like really had problems, and everyone was like complaining because of the One UI 7 update on Samsung phones. And I saw all these videos like, okay, if you want to put this back to this, and this was stupid, and Samsung, why'd you do that? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, the One UI 7 is awesome. Like, I love the way they redid the notifications. To me, it's better. And some other stuff. And I'm just like, what are you complaining about? Like,
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You know what? Because I remember telling you I didn't like One UI 6. I thought it ran smoothly. It's a lot better than anything that Samsung had done in previous years. But I still thought that it was a tiny little part of me that looked at it and still saw TouchWiz. But One UI 7 changed that. It's like, you know what? This could be a Pixel. At the drop of a hat, this could be a Pixel that has features a Pixel doesn't have, too, I might add. And what I honestly personally thought was an ugly ass phone with sharp edges that you could take an eye out with. But the rounded version, more rounded rather, of the current one that you have, the 25, is far better. I don't mind that if I had to, and it was down to that or another brand, I would get that. The Pixel's my favorite. That's what I would choose. But if the Pixel suddenly ceased to exist, Samsung, Ultra series, flagship version would be what I'd get.
Yeah.
Not because everybody does, is because I've tried the other ones and it's the only other one.
Well, I mean, I've never had my hands on a OnePlus or any of those other third parties, but I can tell you that having both Pixels and Samsung and with the One UI is as close to a Pixel experience as you're going to get, in my opinion. Again, I haven't had my hands on the
now.
OnePlus.
I have to agree
with
you. I mean, obviously, OnePlus you could say is, but I don't think it is because OnePlus actually takes it that step closer to what a Nexus would have been. That's a totally different feeling. If you want that feeling of a Nexus, that's great. I didn't mind the whole Nexus thing, but I always wished it had a little bit more to it. I loved how open it was, but it was always lacking a little bit of something. And I always thought, well, you know what? I like this, but if HTC still made a phone, I would have liked to have had some of those HTC features. And I lost them. And you're out of focus.
I'm out of focus.
Yes, you are. You're out of focus. I don't know why. You weren't a minute ago. Now it's worse.
it'll focus back in.
There it is. It's good now.
Yeah. Probably when I was showing my phone, it acted stupid or something.
Well, that was a while ago, though. I didn't, unless we're out of focus the entire time, and I just noticed. Hey, what do you think of my? Wait, am I gonna sit the right way? My wall of fame.
Oh, right. Yeah, we didn't mention everybody that Lionel has finally got his studio back in order. And as you see, he's got his nice lights on the drum set in the back. And
he's got his back over here. My wall of fame. That doesn't include every phone I've had. It's not even every one I have in here. But as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Pixels there. I think that's
he's
my
a Google Pixel
watch.
hoarder.
And I even, of course, have this bad boy here. Good old days of gaming, man. We had a lot of fun with that. We did. And there's the actual controller up there, which is now a Bluetooth controller, so you can actually still use it.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's this is great. So I have the different lights going on, and of course they're all connected to my Gemini, so I can change the colors and turn them on and off. The ones for this ambient stuff, that's all my studio. Actually, this one here too, the one that's on my face, which you can't see from the camera. I'm pointing up there. That is also part of what I've now named my studio lights. So I can tell who to turn on and off the studio and which lights to be what color and what intensity. And
Nice.
I now have more than 3 lights, so I'm about 1 billionth of the way to where Robert is in
Oh,
lights in my house.
uh,
He's got more lights in the one room than the rest of the world has, actually.
that's not true.
Never mind his whole house. Because we just suddenly start talking about smart home, everything. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe we should just briefly, because the really cool thing about it is with Gemini getting into everything in the coming months. Like by the end of the year, it's going to be well, I think it's into next year before it's in everything. But cars, TVs, and various other things. So having a smart home is really going to be more like what you see what you see in movies over the years, where you'll be able to eventually have Gemini Live built into something in your house, whether it
Yeah.
be your TV or speaker in your kitchen or whatever. I mean, you can do that with your phone or tablet right now, anyways. But just imagine that anywhere in your house, you can just activate one speaker and then move to another room and say, "Okay, I'm going into the other room. Uh, please transfer into the other." I mean, this is not something they're planning yet, but well, they might be. But I think it's something for the future, where I can pick up my phone in my room and say, "Okay, I need you to turn off the studio lights, and I'm going into the kitchen. Please turn live on in there." And then you
Yeah.
get into the
You'd think
kitchen. You don't
so.
have to do anything. And you're in the kitchen. You've been in there for 10 minutes. Getting ready to prep dinner, and you suddenly say, "Oh, I forgot how many eggs I need for this souffle." And and oh, well, how many people are you feeding? And whatever, and I mean, that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
as for the thing, and I think we mentioned this last week about, and I think a bad example, I was always trying to stay awake on the highway. Here's a great thing. You're bored and you're driving down the highway. The music actually starts to make you tired. So you go with louder and more boisterous music, disco or heavy metal or whatever you think is going to wake you up. You roll the window down, but it's 85 degrees outside in the middle of the night. It's not helping. So you
Yeah.
blast the air conditioner. Now you're freezing to death, but you're still tired. So what if you got Gemini Live in your vehicle, which you will eventually if you have Android Auto, or you purchase a unit that has Android Auto in it? You could
Y-
actually say to it, "I'm driving home and I'm trying to stay as safe as possible. I'm not tired yet, but I am getting bored and I don't want to get tired. Why don't we play a trivia game?" And now you got your mind going and you're
Right.
doing a
Yeah.
trivia game I mean, that's just one example. You could tell it, "I need you to, read me a story or make something up and make it interesting. Make it, action packed story, fictional about whatever subject." And it has to be over 50,000 words or something like that.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean, you can
Yeah,
have it write a
keep it
letter
busy.
for you that you dictate.
Yes. And there's just so many things that you can do with it, because a lot of people think, because I don't know how many times I've driven, and I've still got like 45 minutes to get home, and I'm starting to be like, "Okay, I'm getting tired. I'm not like falling asleep at the wheel yet, but but I'm tired, right?" So I'll call somebody, and they don't really have time to talk, and I just basically say to them, "Listen, I'm stuck on the highway. Traffic's moving slow, and I'm getting bored as hell, and I don't want to get tired, so I just need somebody to talk to." Well, if you got Gemini do that because the person on the other end doesn't have time to talk to you. "Well, I'm just sitting down to dinner right now. Call me if you get into an accident. If you die, let me know." But Gemini, you don't have to worry about that. right? You
Right.
just talk to it. So yeah, it might sound funny. People think, "Well, I'm going to talk to an AI." Yeah, you can do that, and it will
Yeah.
talk back. So
Yep. And before long, they just released the Wear OS 6 developer kit. And so we'll have
yep.
that on our watches before long.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's what I wanted to bring up was the what did they call it now? Material.
3 or something. Yeah.
No, that was what it was last time. It was Material 3 and then Material U. No, Material U and then Material 3, whatever. But now it's Material Expressive. That's what it is. It's Material Expressive. This is what's going into Android 16. Wear OS 6 will be based on Android 16, not 15, and it will have Material Expressive on the watch. So you can try out the developer preview of it now, but you have to side load it using Android Studio in order to do so at this point.
Okay.
So
So
I
they did,
haven't
they
sent it on
actually
to you yet.
still call it 3. They just call it Material 3 Expressive.
Oh,
And
okay. My
then
bad.
it's
I'm wrong. Okay.
Material Design 3, which used to be Material U.
Yes, right. Okay. So that they got a little confusing with that. But is that surprising with Gemini naming?
No.
No. I mean, how many messaging apps, how many meets have there been? Did we talk about meet? um, yeah, a new thing with meet is actual live translate. Basically, it's like a universal translator. Like if we were doing meet right now and you were speaking Spanish and I was speaking English, um, I would actually get a translation in real time of you actually speaking. Don't get me wrong when I say real time. There's a couple of seconds delay as it detects the language and then speaks. So when you stop speaking, there's still going to be 2, 3, 4 seconds, whatever, before it finishes. But that's as close to real time translation as you're going to get. What
Yeah.
you get with what we think of as real time translation right now is me turning on the translation. It can auto detect and it will translate, but it's not the same thing where it's translating as I'm speaking. So
Right.
I'm not going to hear it. You would hear it.
Right.
So it's not interfering with what I'm saying. So I think that's one of the coolest things. And so universal translation, there you go. And if that's going into Meet, I think in the next year or two, we're probably going to start seeing that in other apps directly on the phone. Um, there'll be some other applications that do use similar technologies will start popping up with their versions of live translations. And the universal translate from Star Trek is another thing that was myth will become almost reality. I say almost because the universal translator in Star Trek, uh, it did real time translation based on the algorithm that it produced on what it was hearing. We are at least 500 years away from that kind of technology right now, where it can just decide what a language is saying. You can't walk in with oh, and it just translated it instantly. No, nor are my lips going to move to English if I'm speaking Farsi, right? But that said, I still think it's incredibly cool. Uh, because once they get to the point where it works so well, you can use it on your phone. Uh, like I don't even know how it would work on your phone. I guess you'd have to basically, if you went to a foreign country and they didn't speak English and you didn't speak whatever language, let's say Japanese, if you held up your phone and showed it to them, and they'd know what it was because everybody'd be using it by then if it was that popular, right? And they would just automatically turn it on. And then you'd say, "Hey, I don't speak Japanese," and within a half a second, it would say something in Japanese to reflect what you just said. To which they would
Right.
reply, "I don't speak English either. How you doing?"
Well, I really
And
wonder how they're going to do certain things. Like, for example, I remember telling you when Blake and I traveled to Europe, the
yeah,
Samsung Buds did live translation,
yes,
and
That's just the
it
Google
it,
one.
it was like, it sometimes worked, sometimes didn't. But
yes.
one of the issues that it had was when you go to certain parts, like they might speak French, but it's not exactly French. And so it didn't understand what they were saying.
Precisely. Yeah,
So,
no, that's you're talking about dialects. Now, the interesting
right.
thing about it, there's two things about it. One, until they add separate dialects in different areas, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But because we're talking about large language models, not Gemini, the Google Translate was basically Gemini tapping into Translate. Whatever it couldn't get right, it interpolated, and that doesn't work. So that's why everything was wrong. So Gemini's different. It's a large language model. So it knows how to speak German as well as it knows how to speak French. And this is the perfect example of this. I'm going to give you a live demonstration right now. Hey, I'm doing my podcast right now and I want to do a live demonstration. Are you ready to do a live demonstration on the podcast for me?
Absolutely. What kind of demonstration are you thinking of? I'm ready to showcase some cool stuff.
Wie geht's? Mein Name ist Lionel und ich bin sehr hungrig.
Ah, das ist ein toller Name. Und Hunger ist ein guter Grund, um über Essen zu sprechen. Was für ein Gericht hast du im Sinn? Vielleicht etwas Deftiges oder eher
Es
etwas
tut mir leid,
Süßes?
es tut mir leid. Ich verstehe nur ein bisschen Deutsch. Bitte sprichst du langsam.
Entschuldigung, ich spreche etwas langsamer. Du hast gesagt, du hast Hunger.
Okay,
Was möchtest du
all right.
essen?
Let's go to English because I'm sure that none of my viewers are speaking German. I just wanted to demonstrate how fast you could do that. But can you do me a favor and just say something in Japanese for me?
もちろんです。日本語で何かお話しましょうか。何か。
Okay, that's good enough. Thank you very much. Okay, so basically the bottom line is you notice that the voice never changed. As little as a few days ago, the voice would have to change in order for it to do a different language. And then because of that, there were still errors. But I can tell you right now that that German was perfect. I can't tell you that the Japanese was, but it probably was. Because Japanese and German are two of the main languages that Google puts out immediately when they do English stuff. If it's available in English only, Japanese and German are usually the next two languages that they do, along with Spanish and Italian. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool.
And you don't have to tell it. You don't even have to tell it. If you just start speaking it, because you saw I did that. I just started speaking German and it immediately responded to me in German. Don't know what it said because I don't speak very good German at all. I have no idea what it said. No clue. That's why I said to it at the end, I said, my German is not good. I speak very little. Please speak more slowly. And then it very, very quickly said, okay, I'm sorry, I will speak more slowly. But it said it as fast as it could.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's getting near the end of this podcast. I think we've covered all the key IO stuff we want to talk about. I think
if we missed anything, comment. And
after you like and subscribe.
A like. Where's my finger? A like, subscribe, and I believe there's a bell icon down there too. And you can hit that.
There is.
So.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting as these become more prominent and they actually start being able to be used. We'll do some more demo stuff and we'll talk more about it as the progression continues to roll out. Because obviously from here forward, especially with the quick release of 16, there's going to be a lot of this stuff that's I think going to be moving pretty fast. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to a lot of the things that you get to see before I do. But nonetheless, I'll have Android 16 before you will.
Yes, you will.
But that doesn't mean I'll have Wear OS 6 before you. because
I left mine on the charger and I got out of the shower.
Samsung is really quick with rolling out new watch, and they often beat the Pixel for the latest. In fact, they had Wear OS 3, which at the time was the big new one before Google did. They were the first ones for, what was it, almost 6 months or 4 months, I think, before the Pixel
Something
Watch
like
finally
that.
came out. Yeah.
Yep.
So there you have it.
There you have it. All right. Well,
I didn't say it earlier. I am Lionel, and I am in Toronto, Canada.
And I am Robert, and I am in Nashville, Tennessee. And we will catch you guys next week. Peace.